All right, let's dive in. Today, we are unlocking the very first secret from Think and Grow Rich, a book that has literally created more millionaires than probably any other. And this secret, it's the starting point of absolutely all achievement.
But first, let's start with a feeling I bet we all know way too well. It's January 1st, you've set these massive, life-changing goals, and then by February, poof, they're just a distant memory. So why does that happen? What's the real disconnect between wanting something and actually achieving it?
Well, according to Napoleon Hill, the secret is right here. It's in the massive difference between a simple wish and a burning desire. See, a wish is flimsy. It's just a passive hope that shatters at the first sign of trouble. But a burning desire? Oh, that's a whole different beast. It's a definite, pulsating obsession that literally does not recognize the concept of failure.
Okay, Section 1, the starting point. It all kicks off with having a definite goal, and this is perfectly illustrated by the wild story of Edwin C. Barnes.
I mean, this mindset is absolutely everything. When Barnes showed up at Thomas Edison's laboratory, he looked like a total tramp. But here's the thing, in his own mind, he wasn't there to ask for a job. He was there to inform Edison that they were going into business together. That's not a wish, that is a consuming obsession that he absolutely refused to let go of.
So, Section 2 is the blueprint. How do we actually build a desire that powerful for ourselves? Well, thankfully, Hill gives us the 6 practical steps to turn that desire into riches. Now, these are not just some vague suggestions. These are 6 definite, practical steps to turn an invisible desire into cold, hard cash. The key word here is definiteness. Not, I want plenty of money, but a precise number, an exact date, and a concrete plan. And step 6, that's the real core of it all. You have to see, feel, and truly believe you are already in possession of it. You know, to help you really master this blueprint, I've put together a special desire study guide, and I want you to have it totally free. If you're serious about applying this, just comment the word 1 below this explainer, and I'll send it right over to you.
All right, on to Section 3, the mindset, because a plan is completely useless without total commitment. And Hill illustrates this with one of the most powerful metaphors in the entire book.
So this comes from the story of a great warrior facing a massive enemy army. He sailed his soldiers over, had them unload everything, and then he gave a shocking order: burn the ships. Turning to his men, he made it crystal clear: we win or we perish. There was no plan B, no turning back. And guess what happened? They won. And that right there brilliantly illustrates the mindset. To maintain a burning desire, you have to be willing to cut off all sources of retreat. You have to put yourself in a position where you have to win. It completely removes the safety net of "I'll try" and replaces it with a rock-solid "I will do." Okay, Section 4, Stories of Desire. This principle isn't just theory. It's the common thread woven through the lives of pretty much all of the world's greatest achievers.
Just think about it for a second. When the Great Chicago Fire destroyed his entire store, Marshall Field's partners just packed up and left town. He stood there, in the smoking ruins, and declared he would build the world's greatest store on that very spot. A poor, uneducated Henry Ford, obsessed with a horseless carriage, literally put the world on wheels. And 2 college dropouts, Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak, just tinkering in a garage, built what would become a billion-dollar empire.
Next up, Section 5, Turning Defeat into Victory. Now this is where desire works its greatest magic. Not when things are easy, but in those moments of total, crushing failure.
Hill teaches that the biggest turning points in our lives, our biggest breakthroughs, come when we meet our other selves. And this only happens through hardship, when we're forced to dig so deep inside that we discover a strength we never even knew we had.
Take the incredible story of Sidney Porter. The guy was an embezzler, a miserable outcast, literally locked in a prison cell. And it was there, in his absolute darkest moment, that he met his other self. He started writing stories, discovered he was a literary genius, and became the great author we know as O. Henry. That crisis was the very catalyst for his entire legacy. But you know, perhaps the most powerful and personal story of all is Napoleon Hill's own, the one about his son Blair. See, Blair was born without any physical sign of ears, and doctors told Hill that his son would likely be deaf and mute for his entire life. But Hill just refused to accept that reality. He held this silent, burning desire for his son to hear and speak.
and he planted that exact same desire in his son's mind, telling him his affliction was actually a great asset. There's some strange, powerful principle of nature. His son's mind somehow found a way to bridge that gulf of silence. Blair not only learned to hear perfectly, he dedicated his life to helping thousands of others do the same, turning his greatest challenge into his greatest gift.
So, the crucial point is this. A burning desire is the starting point. It's the engine that creates all the initial momentum on your journey. But, an engine can't run on fumes. It needs fuel. Which raises a vital question. What is the fuel that keeps that engine running through all the inevitable doubt, all the setbacks, and all the failures? Well, that fuel is the subject of our very next explainer, where we break down Napoleon Hill's second principle, faith. But before you continue, just ask yourself this. What is the one thing you desire so intensely that you would be willing to burn your ships for it? Discover the next step on your journey by continuing to our explainer on faith.